Hey everybody, it's Audrey. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This episode will be all house related. There's a lot to go over, so brace yourself. Let's start with a backstory. I have lived on the same street a few miles outside of our small town since 1996. After my husband and I got married, we moved into a little house in town for about a year. But after we had our daughter, we really wanted to build a home. So we rented our little house out and we moved in with my parents, which was right across the street from where we were building to save money. We lived there for about a year and a half while we saved, and then we built our home. We moved in May of 2015. We loved it, mostly because it was just ours, but also because of how hard we saved for it and how much work we put into it. There were a few things that we would have liked to change, but overall it was perfect. Then in March of this year, almost 8 years after moving in, we suffered a house fire. The fire started in the garage. We have absolutely no idea what could have caused it. Just like the inside, our garage was neat and tidy. We lost everything. Our pets, our possessions. The fire burned so hot and so fast it was impossible to save anything. And the smoke was so heavy you weren't able to go back in. We've spent weeks thinking about shoulda, woulda, couldas. My mind was stuck in Monday, March 20th for a long time. But I moved on, as we all must. After the fire, we were left with a smoldering pit where my house once stood. My employers, who have hearts of gold, took care of the cleanup. I will forever be grateful to them. I wasn't able to move on until what was left of my home had been removed. It was a very rough and dark few days. On the day they came to clean it up, I told my daughter that the cavalry had arrived. It took several days, and I lost count, like 16 large dumpsters to haul everything away. After the debris was cleaned up, we moved our focus to the basement concrete. We had it tested and examined, but it wasn't salvageable. That was a gut punch. In today's market, concrete is very expensive. It's roughly 1/6 of our entire construction costs. But if it has to be removed, so be it. My employers handled removing the concrete and doing the site work. They specialize in industrial and commercial construction, so they've had more than a few projects where concrete was removed and dirt work was performed. While the equipment was already at our site, we decided if we ever wanted to make any changes to the land, it would have to be now. So let me take you through what our land used to look like. Our home sits at the top of a large hill. The terrain is very rugged, very few flat spots. In fact, when we built our home the first time, basically the only flat spot was where we put the house. As you drive up the driveway, there was a very large, what we call pit. It was around 15 to 20 feet deep and probably just as wide. We call it the pit, but it's actually fairly flat at the bottom. I think it kind of became a pit when they created the site for our house the first time. Trees that had been bulldozed from the original house filled it. It was an eyesore. Since we needed a place to take the concrete that was being removed, the pit was the perfect place. So our first update to the land was filling the pit with the old concrete. Next, our old home actually sat lower than our septic tank on our property, so we required a grinder in our home. I don't know if you have any experience with grinders, but they typically aren't the best solution. So our second update would be to remove the septic tank and lower the ground where it sat to the level of our home, which was about a 10-foot difference. We took the dirt from that spot and covered the pit to create a small yard. Those two changes created a much flatter area for our home. The other projects for site work included filling in the hole where the old basement sat, digging a small lagoon for runoff, clearing trees, extending the backyard by a couple feet, digging a new basement, and then a few odds and ends. The lagoon and flattening the yard will be completed once the new basement is poured. Now, if you weren't at our home a lot, these changes might seem minimal to you, but to us they were huge. How long had we wanted to fill the pit and lower the septic? We always try to keep our thoughts positive because it's so easy to feel overcome with grief even now. So we will take a win any way we can get one. That's all for the site work. If you have any other questions about it, please comment those below. And now I'll take you through our house binder. Since we are rising from the ashes, we have nicknamed our house Phoenix. So this is the Phoenix binder. The first section is the blueprints to the house. The next section is the schedule. In our old home, I had documented when everything was done, and then I created a timeline and we framed it. It was like a piece of art in our house. I would love to do that again. The next section is the design, the color schemes, the paint palettes, all that kind of stuff. After that, it's all budget stuff, receipts, paperwork from the bank, our construction budget, our content spreadsheet, because we own no possessions right now, so we will have to rebuy everything when the house is done. If you are building a house, I really recommend having a house binder. Yes, you could do it all digital, but this way you can carry it with you to meetings with vendors and such. It's really handy to have. Now let's talk about the floor plan. So we have always loved open concept homes. We are big on family time, so an open floor plan was non-negotiable. There's actually nothing about my old floor plan that I would really change, except the lack of natural light. But I was adamant that I wanted a completely different house. I couldn't have any reminder of the old one, or my mind would immediately go to my fur babies. I looked for a new floor plan that had similar qualities of my old one, such as a walk-in pantry, kids' rooms opposite the master, a half bath for guests, laundry room attached to the master suite, open concept, walk-in closets for every bedroom, and a bathroom for the kids. The one new thing I needed was a main floor office. My husband works from home, and in our old house, his office was in the far back corner of the basement. There was no light down there. He was cut off from everything. It wasn't a great solution. I absolutely love the new floor plan. Now let's take a look at my design plans. The themes of this house are organic, modern, airy. Here are 3 articles I used as inspiration. They are all from One Kind Design. Okay, diving right into what I've designed, let's start with the entryway. There's not much to talk about here. I know I want an entryway table with drawers for storage, a large mirror to give the illusion of a big space when you first walk in, a plant of some sort to bring in that natural feel with a pop of color, and then of course a lamp, because we are all about lamps rather than overhead light. This house needs to feel like a home, and lamps are the way to do that. The majority of the house will be done in Sherwin-Williams alabaster. It's a very common white. We will be doing simple, thick trim painted the same color as the walls. Next, let's move into the office. I didn't want the entry to feel closed off by the hallway, so I knew I wanted a door with windows to continue your line of sight. So there's a door in the entry hallway, but just like in my old house, the natural light is blocked. This office covers my only chance for natural light coming in from the southwest. So in addition to a door in the hallway, I wanted another door with windows on the north side to let the light into the living room. The reason I didn't just want the office open altogether was to give my husband a little bit of privacy while he works. The design of the office is very moody. It's definitely bold, but I love it. With the pops of wood and leather, it almost gives off this masculine old money vibe. My husband uses 2 printers and a scanner for work, so I wanted to be able to hide those. So the full wall will be all cabinets, kind of like built-ins. The paint color is Dark Night. It's a dark navy with almost a hint of teal. All of our paint colors are Sherwin-Williams. It's just easy using one company, I think. I didn't use a lot of paint colors. Anyone that has built a house knows how much of a pain and added cost that is. It's always cheapest to buy colors in bulk. If you do lots of colors, you end up with lots of cans to store. From here, let's move on to the living room. I don't have a lot decided. I just threw some ideas in here. I know I need a minimalist looking recliner for my husband and a storage ottoman for our throws, but beyond that, I'm not entirely sure. I wanted to keep a very neutral palette, bright colors to keep it airy, nothing bold because it's open concept and it needs to flow well into the kitchen and dining. We are doing a fireplace, but don't worry, it's not wood burning. Now we'll move on to the kids' wing. When I first looked at the floor plan, I didn't like this area where there's a desk blocking an outside entrance to their bathroom, but then I saw this on TikTok and now I'm obsessed. It's the same barn door, if you will, as the office. There is a desk area for the kids to store their craft supplies. I love it. I can't wait to see how it comes to life. Moving on to the kids' rooms. These are also areas I'm not completely sure about yet. In our old house, we let our daughter paint her room, so now it's my son's turn. He, of course, wants his favorite color, green. So I found this really gorgeous evergreen fog. I think it was like color of the year recently. So it's green, but classy green. His room is small, so I think his bed should be against the wall. I like the idea of a platform bed with storage for toys. I also like the idea of a built-in desk. I loved the cube storage for his room in our old house, so I'd like to incorporate something similar. For my daughter's room, she actually wanted alabaster on her walls. She wants her pops of color to come from her decor, not her wall paint. I don't have much to share on her room just yet. Moving on to the kids' bathroom, it will be very neutral. I love shiplap, so I had to incorporate it somewhere. Now let's move back to the kitchen. We aren't sure on appliances yet. We really want the cafe line, but they are, of course, very pricey, and I don't think we can swing it, but we'll see. For our cabinets, we are going two-toned. All of the bottoms will be done in shortbread. They are all craft-made cabinets in maple. I might actually be saying that wrong. It might be the island is shortbread and then all the others are the white ones, which is in the color cottage. The countertops will be white quartz. I absolutely love the colors and I cannot wait to see them in their space. From here, we'll go to the pantry. I wanted a pop of color in here just for fun. I didn't want to waste money on a new color, so I'm just using the Dark Night that we are using in the office as well. The open shelving will be like a light wood. I might do some tile on the walls. I'm not sure yet. I love this light fixture. In my old house, I used very stock run-of-the-mill light fixtures, and one thing I've learned in 8 years is that accents like that completely change the look of a home. They add so much value without adding cost. Moving back to the dining room, I know I want black metal framed chairs. I don't have a table in mind. I love this black light fixture. If I decide it's too bold, I may change it out. For the master, again, neutral in color, very light and airy. I wanted it to feel like a breezy oasis. I think there will be room for a couple club chairs, then a king-size mattress. I really wanted an upholstered bed frame, large drawer nightstands with lamps on them. Everything is very organic and earthy in here. The master bathroom is the same way, neutral and light. Glass shower, so it feels like it goes on forever. Your eye doesn't immediately stop. I really wanted side wall sconces as opposed to lights above the mirror. I've never done that before. I think it's so classy. The master closet will be something like the PAX wardrobe that everybody uses from IKEA. I'll have a better idea closer to time. I still need a cool light fixture for this area. The laundry room is organic and simple. I love the design. The light color of the sea salt with the butcher block countertops. So perfect. My husband really wants a top-load washer this time. We will have a very large closet to store our Tenco vacs. They need plugged in, so we wanted them to have a home of their own. We'll need cabinets to hide cleaning products and laundry supplies. The back entryway is fairly small, but I wanted a little bench and then an upright cabinet to store coats and backpacks. They are such an eyesore no matter how neat they are hung. I chose the same paint color as what we're using in Grayson's room, that evergreen fog. I plan to do shiplap on that wall too. Finally, for the half bath, I chose natural elements for the vanity, a pop on the floor with a black and white pattern tile, a black metal mirror for a modern look, and then these really fun wall sconces. I may end up doing a very neutral light wallpaper. I haven't decided yet. Woof, that was a lot. Now let's briefly talk about budget. Before I do, let me mention a couple things. I know I don't owe anyone any explanations, but I'll give them anyway. My house burning down was the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I have only shared this with a handful of people, but in the midst of dealing with the insurance, the mortgage company, figuring out how to clean up the mess, the guilt over my pets, I was walking in the field at my parents' house. It was a gorgeous day. The sun was shining. There was a breeze. I was away from all my troubles I was facing, and in that calm, I thought that this would be a great day to just float away from this earth. I was completely at peace with that thought, and if I had had the means, that probably would have been it for me, but I didn't. So I walked back to my parents' house and I soldiered on, and thank God I did. It was then that I said, F this fire. I'm going to build the exact life I want for myself. I will have a gorgeous home. I will be happy, and that's that. So I am getting my gorgeous home in the exact spot my first home was taken away from me. That being said, this home is expensive by my standards. It's about 3 times the cost of our first home, but I would say well over half of that expense is just where the market is at compared to 8 years ago. Without giving exact numbers, I'll run through the percentages of our cost. So of our total cost, these are the percentages. Concrete is 18% of our total budget, framing is 14.67, and so on. Now, looking at this list, it's obvious that there were things we probably could have cut to minimize our cost and lower our mortgage, but I don't care. I want the exact home I want. I'm not sacrificing I deserve it. We don't plan to go on vacation for years. We have said we plan to take staycations now at our new home. We want to enjoy each other's company in the home we built with our tears, hard work, grief, and happiness. Traveling is expensive. We might as well use that expense towards our new home. Virtually our only debt will be our home, so we feel comfortable spending what we're spending. The concrete for the basement begins today. Hopefully the framing will start around the first week of August. My goal is to be in by the end of the year. It's ambitious but necessary. Our family needs to move on in our own home, and my parents need their own space back. Thank you all for your support during this process. I can't believe I'm 33 and basically starting over. It's not what I wanted for my life, but here we are. You guys have lifted me up so much, and I'm so happy I can share these intimate details of my life with you. I feel like you're a part of my family too. If you have any questions on today's video, please comment them down below. Do you like the floor plan and the design? I can't wait to hear what you think. Be sure to tune into next week's video. I will be vlogging a full week in my life. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you all for watching. See you next week.